I came to spend the summer with my grandmother in the village. Everything was fine, the river, fresh air, discos in the evening until I drop. One day, I met a guy at another party. We liked each other. He went to see me home. Here we are, kissing near my gate. Events will come. They are disposed to continue with me, but not everything is so smooth. Suddenly, my grandmother comes out of the gate, not seeing us, takes off her pants, and begins to poop with a terrible accompanying sound. She just can't walk to the toilet by herself in the dark. I didn't see the guy anymore. KMP, it was the worst disco in my life. KMP or kill me please. The most trashy real-life stories from all over the internet. What is naked yoga, or trash kids content? Elza Gate, who hacked YouTube? Why do YouTubers disappear without? Which Easter eggs on YouTube are hidden from prying eyes? Go to my second channel Iceberg, and I'll tell you the most terrible theories related to YouTube and the internet. Link is in the description. When I was 3 years old, my parents divorced, and probably from this I became very withdrawn. With them, I did not talk much, had little contact with other children, but somehow made friends with a girl from a neighboring yard. Then, she moved in with her grandmother, but after 5 years, she returned again. I was about 14 years old at the time. By that time, my relationship with society had not improved. She was a little strange, rarely appeared in the yard, and came to visit me only when no one was at home. She was my best friend, and the best person in my life. Then she left again. A couple of months ago, my mom asked me if I had any friends at all, and I was surprised to tell about my friend, because I thought that my mother knew about her. Tomorrow I'm being taken away for compulsory treatment in a mental hospital, since my girlfriend was imaginary. I am 39 years old, single, slim, young, have a lover of 44 years, married. I have a 25-year-old daughter. Not really like it, but attention, sluggish cupcake and so on. Let it be. Friends called me to the club, drank, and I'm cheerful, groovy. A guy stuck to me. We danced, then continued to communicate. Oh, young, the blood is boiling, the body is brave, 23 years old. It was great. After some time, I find out I'm pregnant. The fact is that I have no children, and the doctors pronounced infertility. Of course, it's a miracle to leave a child, but I'm so insidious, I didn't want to raise without a father. I told my lover that his child was gone. He left his wife, lives with me, surrounded me with care, affection, and attention. He calls 50 times to work, inquiring about how he feels. He strokes his stomach, talks to him, comes up with names, and I cry at night. I have been married for 2 years, married a beautiful, slender girl I love, I adore, just as a person, and as a wife, is just amazing. But over the past year, she has grown fat to an outrage. Ugly folds hang down the sides, stomach, feet, as columns and fat cheeks. All this absolutely does not cause me to desire her as a woman. I've talked to her about it 1,000 times, and offered to go on a diet together. Although he himself is 1.87 m tall and weighs 75 m, and I was looking for suitable diets for her, that is, those that do not lead to ulcers, and are as healthy as possible. As a result, she thinks that if you eat black bread instead of white, in the same Hypopotamian quantities, and not to eat after 8, then it will help. Help, please. I don't want to ruin family relationships because of fat. I have been working for the last 5 years on a car, so as not to take out loans, but to buy it right away and not worry. I saved up my parents, added, everything seems to be fine. We went to the salon, bought a car from scratch. They immediately took it from the salon. The alarm system, locks and all that are in place, but they didn't have time to issue insurance. It's not that fast. So in the end, I arrived home in the evening on the same day with a new car, put it at the entrance. I go out in the morning, there is no car, just gone, evaporated. The police said that the salon was involved in all of this, and that until at least 3 more applications were received, they did not intend to do anything. A very dear person to me, before leaving my life, gave me a silver bracelet. He has been dead for 4 years. All this time, I missed him terribly, knowing that he would not come back. I haven't taken off the bracelet in 4 years. Yesterday at a rock concert, the bracelet broke and got lost. I searched until 3 a.m., until I was kicked out of the club. Help me please. That was the last thing that reminded me of him. March 8. Damn it. Today I opened the computer, and there in a folder with family photos. That is, I am a husband and a child. I see 2 pictures of some girl. It seems to be a decent face only. I ask my husband, who is this? He says it's his unit, the only joy in life, and I'm hard labor. We have been living together for 10 years already. Today, March 8th, my dear husband gave me a GPS navigator. The joke is that I only drive to and from work by car, and for this I don't need a navigator at all. Damn. This navigator costs 5 grand. How can I imagine that with this money I could at least buy normal underwear for myself? Roaring. We've been dating for 3 years. In the summer, we wanted to go on vacation across the country to Vladivostok. We bought tickets. And then my mom diagnosed cancer. The operation is scheduled for the summer. That is, Mom and I need to follow to take care of. I'm going to him, describing the situation. He says, well, let's go hand over your tickets. Are you going to go? The answer, well, not my mom. The diagnosis later turned out to be erroneous. My mom is 42. I'm 19. 6 months ago, she gave birth to a child. I love him very much and often walk with him. All the neighbors think it's my baby. I constantly hear whispers behind my back. I love my brother, but I can't hear about what I am and gave birth without a husband to diversify our life. I took some pictures of myself without clothes. Plus, I recorded a video where I told myself that I really want my boyfriend, and exactly how. Then she threw it on a flash drive and gave it to the guy, saying that he urgently threw music on it, and right now, I decided to make a surprise. Yeah, on the way home, he met a friend and gave him this flash drive to throw something off. It all started 2 weeks ago, when I got up in the morning and touched the wire, charging from the laptop. It's broken. It cost 90,000. 2 days later, the sister goes to the hospital with a concussion. 3 days later, I find out that my grandfather died. A couple of days later, the cat fell out of the window, died. The next day, I find out that my grandmother died. From experience, heart failed. Today, I found out that it is infertile, KMP, all within 2 weeks. The story is simple. I met a guy just like that. He fell head over heels in love. Now he shows all possible signs of attention. For the time being, I liked it, but recently I got a video where he just dances. I almost threw up. My mom always decided for me how to get a haircut. She has no taste, so it always looked terrible. Everyone around was laughing and pointing. Today I went to the barber shop. She told me how to cut my hair again. This has crossed all boundaries. Even Dad was horrified. Looked like a monkey. I'm afraid to remove the cap. Tomorrow to be photographed for the graduation album. My parents drink heavily, but not like ordinary drunks. No, they both work, earn a decent living, but every night after work, they get drunk in the shit. What is the meaning of such a life? I do not understand, but it's not even that. But the fact that my father does not have the same blood type as me, and he believes that this is impossible, although we are like 2 drops of water, and now every night, after they get drunk, he calls his mother a lifeboat, and says I'm not his daughter. In my life, girl, I've made it 5 years in different ways, different approaches. Ignored, ran after her, disappeared, appeared, tried everything. I got the consent 3 months ago. A month ago, I heard, I love you, sweet. She left for Canada yesterday. I have a rare blood type and a very thin bone. Yes, I am a very fragile, but quite proportionally built and absolutely healthy young woman. Hormones are normal. Ribs are not sticking out. Suddenly, after a terrible accident, I found myself in the hospital. An urgent blood transfusion was needed. It turned out that he had my own group, and I could help. For the friends who were raised on their ears could not find anyone else. I went to the hospital to find out that no one would take in healthy women without contraindications blood, even in such an emergency. Oh, how long have I been trying to explain the situation with sobs? Because she weighs less than 50 kilograms, I have 45 kg. I was refused, my friend died, and everyone who knew us turned away from me in horror, thinking that I had invented everything with weight, and was just afraid, too lazy, did not want to help him, having all the possibilities for this. Yesterday, he called his mother in hysterics, invited a girl on a first date to a restaurant. He was dressed in light. I went to the toilet and accidentally splattered my pants. There was no dryer. I didn't miss with toilet paper. In general, I sat there for half an hour until it dried. When I came out, she was already gone. I recently got sick with the usual flu. I sat at home for 3 weeks, which I was wildly tired of. I was on the mend, and suddenly remembered about the quartz device. Without reading the instructions, I decided to sit under it for 5 minutes instead of 1. The result is second-degree burns on the face. I won't leave the house for another month. On Saturday, I squeezed out a pimple over my lip. At a party on the night from Saturday to Sunday, the lower lip swelled twice. I survived Sunday on painkillers. On Monday we went to the doctor. They thought it was herpes, but they took tests for everything. The results were ready only on Wednesday. I tried to live up to it on painkillers and doses incompatible with life. As a result, by Wednesday, the lower lip became 5 centimeters in diameter. We urgently went to the clinic, where I was immediately operated on. They pulled out a lot of pus, and even put it in the hospital against their own. In the end, terribly sick daily injections of antibiotics, after which hour it is impossible to get up. So also the bandages are infernally painful, on which they climb up with forceps on the lip and clean everything, abundantly pouring everything with ointment and alcohol, naturally, all without anesthesia. Today I have an anniversary with a girl 03.11, and I still have a week to live like this, or even more. Oh, yes, because of the bandage, I drink only through a straw, and can only eat mashed potatoes. I am doomed to live with migraine attacks for the rest of my days. It's terrible. At night, I wake up from an explosion in my head and vomiting. This means that it has begun. A day or two will be killed. With migraines, they do not give a sick leave. I go to work where I can't see with one eye, I can't hear with one ear. Every sound is cast iron in me, ringing, and someone else's laughter cuts like a chainsaw. The letters blur before my eyes, and attempts to focus on the text cause an acute attack of nausea. Thank God, analgesics save a little, but the KMP will be more powerful. We live with a girl together for about 6 months. All this time, she pulls the blanket off me at night. On the offer to buy a second one to sleep under different ones, she explodes, a tirade that lovers should sleep under one. Yeah, under one. Then why am I freezing every night? It's been more than a month, and it's been disappearing ever since. One day I left the house. I see a girl sitting in front of the entrance. It seems like she's crying, because she lowered her head and shudders. Beautiful hair, decent clothes, I think, probably pretty. I approach with the purpose of talking, helping, comforting. She raises her head, and her face is not present. If the meat is raw and bleeding, it's not even clear how the hair is clean and dry. I'm in wild shock. My legs are shaking. I squeezed out to help you. She nods, still crying. I dial a taxi on the machine, put her in the car, take her to the hospital. The next day I come to visit her. She's lying bandaged up. I ask what happened. She barely moved her mouth, and said that she was kept for more than 2 weeks in an apartment, and bullied by a cousin with a friend, and released, saying that God forbid she would tell anyone. I have a wonderful, perfect boyfriend in every way, if it wasn't for one thing, but we don't have a cupcake with him. In general, we have been together for more than a year, and the only time was at the beginning of a relationship, and now every evening when he leaves me, kissing my cheek, I cry and howl like a beluga. I already have wild complexes about myself, my body, behavior, became irritable, nervous and so on. I am the only child in the family who has never been denied anything. I have lived all my life in a well-off and strong, as I thought, family. Everything collapsed in almost a few months. It turned out that my parents lived together only because of me, and each of them had someone on the side. All of our well-off life proceeded at the expense of loans that Dad took. They took away our apartment, car, almost everything that is possible. Dad was jailed for 4 years for loans. Mom can lose her job at any moment, and consequently, her last means of subsistence. We live in a 2-room tiny rented apartment. Mom started drinking, prolonged depression. It's terrible. Got in touch, and there's a message from a 15-year-old guy. You're so cute on Avenue. Stripped me of my innocence. I'll be 30 in 2 months. What kind of kids went? That's how to give birth to your own and raise adequate. I don't know. The chief congratulated the employees of our department on March 8th. In other words, there are beautiful women in our department. He looked expressively at one. There are smart ones, looked at another, and there are hard-working ones, and looked at me. At school one boy liked me, But at the age of 15, it was terribly unsociable, and I couldn't imagine what we had at all. There can't be anything between us. He's a year older than me. My brother and his friends repeatedly hinted to me about his feelings, but I sincerely ignored them. Apparently, because of his shyness, he did not dare to approach me himself, and so on his birthday, having plucked up the courage, he nevertheless came up and wanted to invite him to his birthday. That there is such a thing as tact. At that moment, I somehow did not think. Turning around in front of all his friends, I said, "Look in the mirror, you freak." Of course, she didn't go anywhere. I'm still ashamed. How could I say? It's been 8 years, and my conscience still torments me. I'm 24. My girlfriend's the same. They came to her grandmother's one day. We're sitting in the room kissing. Grandma is messing around in the kitchen. Grandma's friend comes to the doorbell, and now the two of them are in the kitchen. I closed the door. We kiss. Both started up, and it went young. The girl rises to kiss, and I see her pupils dilate, turning around, and these grandmothers are both standing and looking. I'm jumping in with the girls to close the door. While the run up to the door, the other says, nodding at my device, "Lucky your granddaughter something. Now we don't know how to come to her, because she calls, they say, she misses. I wonder why. I am a very beautiful girl of model appearance. My father believes that all this should be used as a kind of investment in the future. That is, I have to hook up with all sorts of rich boys, preferably with a good character. And I can't do that. The soul is very important to me. My ex-boyfriend gives his soul and life for me, every day in my room. Flowers, toys, golden jewelry gifts, do not eat in college, and saving up my gifts. He is not rich from the village. There is no higher education. Dad did everything to break up with us. I told him, they say, "Why are you carrying these brooms and the like here?" Entering the institute, Dad said that if he did not meet a person the first year, then he had to go back to his ex. Today, I went home, opened the door with my key, took off my coat, shoes, went into the living room. Approaching the door, I heard my wife talking on the phone. In a cupcake, he's just God. I'm standing, so I'm proud. I hear her add, Vadim is just a weakling compared to him. Of course, Arthur is better. Well, Aunt Tanya, mine will come soon. I'm going to clean up. I'm sitting in a bar and getting drunk. Vadim, it's me. He's my brother. Aunt Tanya, my mother. KMP. We played football with friends. The ball lay on his foot, applied with all the dope turn, and hit a friend with the ball in the head. Wait, the result is a best friend in a coma. Doctors say they don't know how long it can last. They say that it may not come out. Everyone says it was an accident. Even his parents don't accuse him of anything. This is the 5th day I have spent the night at his hospital. I come home just to fill my eyes. I'm 26. Soon my 2 front teeth will fall out, and then all the others. And even implants can't be put in their place, because there is no bone tissue there. Removable dentures. That's what a beautiful young woman is waiting for me. My mother loved dolls, gave birth to a child, and now I am a tyrant doll for her. Before going somewhere or calling on my behalf, they dictate to me what to say. In the store, she chooses my clothes, and I'm just a mannequin for fitting. Resist. The answer of this woman is, while I am a mother, and therefore the main thing, I am generally silent about the difficult character. To fall under the hot hand of death, all the old posts, from birth to the present, is back in force. Any manifestation of character or self-expression is suppressed. I went on a date, parked a car near a huge entertainment center. After the date, I'm out. No car. I ran around the entire parking lot. There is no car. Panic. Stolen. Called the police. The car was entered into the stolen database. I went back, had a cup of tea. I get out. The car is in place. I looked around, and the exit is exactly the same, but on the other side. But the car is already stolen, and they are slowing down at every post. There was a friend who installed remote control for her convenience, so as not to drive across the city to help. She accused me of going through her computer without her. Broke off any relationship. Where is the logic? My parents divorced with such a scandal. There were screams for 2 weeks before my father left. I found some young one. He returned 2 years later. My mother forgave me. 6 months have not passed, and everything is all over again. The same screams. My girlfriend is fat, but she doesn't seem to notice it. Constantly eats, eats and eats. Everywhere there are some pieces of half-eaten food, wrappers, pieces, crumbs, all thoughts about how cool it would be to eat this or that. At first, I tried not to focus my attention, but now I can't watch in silence anymore. I feel so much disgust for her, but I can't express it to her. Don't throw stones at me. I know myself that they don't love me for my appearance. But when the girl approached the figure of 102 kilograms, can she really think that it's time to stop? I decided to leave her. The reason is not in the fat after all, but in the fact that everything is up to her hairdryer. He thinks that he has found love, and that's it. You can do nothing. It looks like Bobenki after childbirth, and you can't do that. And it's not just the girls who are concerned. It's also about us guys. I feel sorry for her, but I can't stand it anymore. When I was 7 years old, I ran into a boy on skis in Ubrick. I fell, and the tip of his ski hit me in the eye. I have this eye only as an organ. I can't see them. His parents paid my money for chalky from dimming, that it was not visible that the eye is not moving. Fortunately, the second eye, contrary to forecasts, did not worsen vision, so I lead a completely normal life. Now I'm 15, and this boy's 16. We met a year ago, and love each other. What our parents think about it, you can imagine. They take me to school and back under escort. Like a little girl, they don't let him out of the house. We can see each other once a week for an hour at my grandmother's, who understands us. We correspond. Thank God, our parents are not very friendly with the computer. It's scary to imagine how long this will continue. Scandals at home without end, suspicions, tantrums, physical abuse. They celebrated my birthday. The next day I was going shopping. I keep money and all sorts of documents, receipts in a small briefcase, felt cheeky with a combination lock, climbed there, but there is no money. Although, before my birthday, I put 500 there with my own hands. And there was still a 5,000th one lying there. I had 9 guests, but only 2 of those present knew the cat, my younger sister, and my young man. I'm just afraid to call them both now, not knowing which one of them, and it's a shame, and a shame to suspect. I would forgive my sister, but not him. I don't know what to do. I argued with a girl, lost the argument, and had to shave my legs with an epilator. People, I have never felt such a hellish institution in my life. Infernal apocalyptic pain, and I am a boxer of the KMP, as well as the one who invented epilators, and the one who encouraged me to argue. I work as a dispatcher in a taxi. Communication via cell phones with both drivers and customers. 5 minutes ago, I closed the office and went down to the toilet is on the first floor, where I safely drowned the key to the office without a chance to get it. The toilet here has a latrine system, a hole in the floor. All the phones were left in office, except my own. Today, March 8th, is the most working bread day. I'm sitting under the door in slippers and a t-shirt, and I don't even know the village number, having worked here for 2 years. All 3 days off, my mother and uncle were drinking until they were blue in the face. On the 8th, uncle's friends also joined. Can't stand drunk. And out of the apartment I was not allowed. I'm 17. It came to a scandal. My boyfriend came. He was 20, just in case, because there are 4 inadequate carcasses in the house, and I am alone. You never know what. She left the room, only if she suddenly went to the toilet. All over the apartment, org, din, fumes are unbearable. In the corridor, I was squeezed by one of my friends. He started pawing. I tried to pull away. The guy stood up. A fight started, but these drunks would have been more. When everything calmed down, we ran away to his house, but briefly went to the emergency room. The result is both with bruises and bruises. Beloved also with a concussion. The mother does not let her on the threshold, calls her a boat. Excellent March 8th. It so happened that I have been suffering since childhood. Excellent student syndrome. He graduated from high school with a gold medal. At uni, I always try to be at the forefront. Amateur activity, social activity. Headman, I try to pass the sessions on the top 5, and now the 3rd course of the most difficult one has begun. Since the beginning of December, he began to plow like a dam. I slept for a couple of hours in total. I'm always drinking coffee, reading, studying. The only thought that supported me was the thought that at the end of this horror, I would eat a chocolate cake and a Coke. In proud solitude, December ended, January began. The session is gaining momentum, nerves to hell. Then, I began to notice dry mouth and constant weakness. I went to the doctor, passed blood tests. Yesterday, the end of January, I take the last exam for the top 5. I go to the clinic, where they tell me that I have type 1 diabetes. I need to follow a diet that affects the quality and quantity of my life. Goodbye, cake. Goodbye, cola forever. I am 14 years, 9 months and 22 days old. I live like a camera of eternal macro photography. My gaze can only focus on objects that are 10-15 cm away. I learned to read at the age of 3. I really liked it. I was constantly reading, and by the middle of the first grade, glasses appeared on my face. They merged with my image for as long as 6 years. 3 years ago, the next glasses broke right in the middle, and we went for new ones. So in my life, filled with night reading and constant sitting at the computer, contact lenses appeared for a month, at -6 diopters for both eyes. 3 days ago, on the algebra, I realized that I do not see index number, and the day before yesterday, I went to school and cried because I didn't see what was written on store signs. I've been lying in utter apathy for 2 days. I'm afraid of going completely blind, and I blame myself for years of many hours of entertainment in front of the monitor. KMP -9 right eye, -9.5 left. I'm scared. Hello, my name is Nikita, and I am 20 years old. I'm a completely ordinary guy, a student. I have a few close friends, but I've never had any enemies. And then yesterday, someone put white paint on the asphalt under my window. Nikita, pay alimony. I live with my parents, and the questions immediately began. What is it? And I have no idea at all who would need it. I had a girl, but I'm more than 1 year, and never had any problems. No calls to all the girls parted as ordinary people. My parents, of course, do not believe me, turn away from me, despise me. What am I going to tell them? My name, of course, is not the rarest, but we live in a 5-story small house, and I know that there are no Nikita in our entrance anymore. I do not know how to explain to my parents. I'm going to the store for gray paint, but for now the KMP. I started having nightmares. In these dreams, the guy was ruining my face. In the morning, I couldn't remember the image of the tormentor. Then I went to the university, where I received another letter from a secret admirer. I admired the talent of this guy, but I never answered. After all, I was already in love with a high school student, smart and beautiful. And then I ran into this guy on the stairs. He looked me in the eye and said, "I'm writing you letters," and I backed away in horror, only now realizing that this is the guy from my dreams. They say I flew down the stairs beautifully. I woke up in the hospital, next to Mom, and this guy. I can't talk. My face hurts terribly. I take the mirror. Naturally, the face is scarred. My mother got married when I was 2 years old, and she was 20. Her stepfather is the same age as her, escaped from us after 3 years. My stepfather replaced my father. I didn't bring anyone into the house. Gave the best solution. I raised my childhood. He looked menacingly at my first boyfriend, comforted me when the first relationship ended. He wiped my tears, kissed the top of my head at night. In the 3rd year, I came home, meeting a girl in a man's shirt on the doorstep. But here, I think, there is no need to explain. They laughed, met a nice woman. But all day long, I wanted to grab her and tear her away from him. With such thoughts ran to her friend, cried all night thinking, I love my stepfather, does not in any way a daughter loves a father. All my failures in relationships were explained here. After all, everyone else is not him. He has always been an ideal for me. I do not know what to do or how to look him in the eye now. I was coming home in the evening. A drunk neighbor attacked me at the entrance. A healthy man, besides our district police officer. I don't remember what I did, but in the end it turned out that I broke 2 fingers on his hand, smashed his nose, and damaged his front tooth. I have bruises on his hands, under eyes and swollen face, as he was beaten mostly on it. My neighbors came out to my cry and helped to drag him away. I was in complete shock, but I called the police anyway. It would be better not to call. It is easy to guess that all was hushed up. The neighbors didn't hear anything. We watched TV at home. The neighbor turns out, I was not beaten. He just said something, and I started to fight, and he began to defend himself, and in general, was sober, went to the store. The neighbors refused to communicate with me, although they used to be on good terms, and this creature said that he would withdraw his application if I paid him $100,000 for treatment of the type. Who should I ask for help? How to achieve justice? I can't find the answers to these questions. I come from a very simple poor family. It so happened that I fell in love with a girl with wealthy parents. Of course, they weren't happy about me. My brother wouldn't let her go anywhere with me at all. I tried to earn money, but you can't get up so quickly without connections. And then, quite by chance, my old story was published in a magazine. It inspired me so much to become. Writing has also become, if not rich, then popular, rotating among critics, filmmakers. My books are published, and the girl began to look at me differently. Recently she came to visit me and said that maybe we should start building a relationship, that she looked at me in a new way. I was touched to the core. She said, "Don't accompany me." I hesitated in the hallway, but I went out to see her off anyway. Her brother was standing at the entrance and asked her if I had been promoted. After all, if she is my girlfriend, she will also go to all these festivals and film screenings full of majors. We love to ride bicycles with friends for long distances and at high speeds. Yesterday we drove along the highway at a speed of about 50 kilometers per hour, downhill on smooth asphalt, and suddenly a cat runs out to cut me. The front wheel was washed for half a day. I can't sleep. I remember, I feel sick. We went tubing with friends. It seems like everything is as usual, but at the last ride, a steam train from the tubes flew off the track, and my best friend, my closest person, hit the diesel very hard. As a result, the spine is broken. He's in the hospital. It is forbidden to sit to the toilet only standing up, and then only with the help of someone. Recovery from 3 to 6 months. KMP, because she is only 27 years old, and in 5 days, we had to celebrate her birthday, and in March, there should be her long-awaited vacation, and in the summer a wedding. KMP and all of us, because we didn't save it. 4 years ago, I got into a terrible accident. The doctor said I wouldn't come out of the coma. When I came out of the coma, they said that I would be a vegetable. We got to know our parents, fiancé, and sister on you. Upon his discharge, he went to live to the groom. I have never been in the apartment where I lived before. Everyone said it wouldn't do any good. If memories come up, there will be trouble with the psyche. In general, everything is fine, plus a pregnancy of 11 weeks. 2 weeks ago, my parents went on vacation. Their sister was looking after their cat. Her son got sick on the 3rd day, and she gave me the keys to feed the cat. One day, I shuddered to look in the mailbox. There's a letter addressed to me and 2 sentences. I love you, loved, love, and will love. I found a bunch of letters in the closets of the apartment. The sender's address is the same. Dates from 2006 to 2012. I remembered everything. She left Moscow for St. Petersburg. I'm sitting under the door of the author of the letters of my real fiancé. Everyone lied to me. I was married to a family friend. I do not know how to explain everything. It's been 5 years. I'm afraid. For a very long time, I was in love with a classmate from the 6th grade. That's just loved. Madly, thought only of her. And she, up to one place I was to her in general, the 11th grade, decided that that was enough. To see the girls, not really. I went to an anonymous dating site, and everything didn't work out there either. With the attempts of probably 20, met her. An amazing girl, smart, funny, sociable. All I thought about was her. I often imagined what she might look like, dreamed, and it turned out that she made an appointment with me from the same city. And that's when I got scared. I didn't even know her name. I didn't tell her, and I didn't know what to look like. I didn't know anything at all. And suddenly I come to the meeting place, and there's a scary, old or even a man, sucked in general, told a friend. The friend laughed, offered to go instead of me. I was delighted and agreed. And here's the kick-ass. That girl turned out to be my favorite. The one for whom I have been soaking for so many years. Didn't suspect anything. Walks with a friend in an embrace, and he himself is happy. They meet. She wrote a paper on the safety of civilians in the conditions of everyday realities. I talked a lot with police officers, firefighters, paramedics, ambulances, and others. I made an impression on one major. He gave me permission to attend night shifts at the local police. I was very glad. Such a help for work. I wanted to see how everything really happens. I was worried, but I came. Besides me, there were 2 other guys on the phone that night. We sit, talk. The night is quiet. The phone doesn't burst from calls, like in the movies. They made tea. I ran to the store for sweets. We sat down, and there was a call on the speakerphone. My grandmother got lost in a very dangerous area. Her daughter just called in a panic, but my heroes talked to her rudely enough and sent her. I'm sitting in shock. They commented on the situation. Why get distracted? We're sitting so well. We won't find Grandma anyway. With this macker, they merged 4 more calls, all joking where I climbed smartly to help people. In the morning I came out in tears. I think we're doomed. An unknown man called the police in my house. It turned out to be my husband. He spent 2 hours proving that we have been living together for 10. I showed joint photos. I don't remember anything, and the doctors can't help. I hung up with the Economic Computer Toy Guild to Venice, but sometimes I like this. In the game, so that your dynasty does not fade away, you need to find yourself a husband and periodically retire with him in order to obtain heirs. But since I didn't hurry up with marriage, it became, apparently, all for the children, and every time after that, a message is issued. They say, "We did not get a child this time. By the way, I haven't been 15 for a long time. I have a husband. We just want a child. You got it, right?" Chatting with my girlfriend on Skype and share their experiences. Literally, what an idiot my husband is. He can't fix me a child. I caught up with my husband to the car, but he left anyway. I got into the bath to bathe, slipped, fell, falling. I knocked it down the crane with my head. He hits the ceiling with all his might, and I'm lying and laughing. For the first time in my life, I flooded the neighbors from above. The KMP is ashamed of itself. I thought the 21st would be the end of the world. I said a lot of nasty things to my relatives, whom I never liked. I slept with a friend's boyfriend, dyed her hair light green, got drunk and threw up in the hallway. And now the KMP, the end of the world, has not taken place. And everyone hates me. I was sitting once, waiting for the minibus to fill up, and tried to open a bottle of Sprite, but nothing came out for me, and I thought that someone male would come in now, and I would ask him. And as for evil, some women came in, and suddenly, I see a woman with a child coming in, followed by a man, and the seats are right next to me. The woman sat opposite, and the man to my left. There was time to see a woman, but there was no man. I sit, waiting for the right moment, and are trying hard to open the bottle. Perhaps the man he guessed and will offer, but no, I kindly asked myself, and he calmly nodded, and took the bottle with his left hand, and clamped it between his knees, and began trying to open it. I turned more towards him, and it dawned on me that right hand it does not have. I, of course, began to apologize, but apparently, it was already a matter of principle for him. The bottle, of course, he did, and I sat there, afraid to move and look up, silently feeling how it periodically shudders, resting against mine, the shoulder of some kind of appendage instead of his right arm. To say that I wanted to die of shame is to say nothing. Until recently, I believed that my friends would never leave me, that they would always help me. Until one case, we have a railway bridge near the city. Well, there are stories that the bridge is for self-hypnosis. Well, we decided to drive, climbed, I decided to hang on the beam. Hung so, but I can't get back up in any way. Aru friends, help, help. And they stand and laugh at me, just drool from the mouth flying. I scream, tears flow, and they burn away. As a result, I fell off and fell to the gravel. From a height of 14 meters, he fell successfully. Well, in the sense that he remained alive. I won't walk for another year. There are no 5 teeth, and almost no nose. My mom gave me a wild scandal today because I took away the son from kindergarten. I have a daughter, and she goes to school the ilk, and mom was taken to the nut house. I bought my grandfather a jacket for his birthday. Did not fit the size, returned to the store. When I was making a refund, the saleswoman took my passport to scan for accounting. I protested. She said, "Then we will not accept a refund." The jacket was expensive. I let her. 6 years later, I'm narrowing down about a loan for 670,000 which I didn't take, but which is issued on my passport. I have a friend with whom we studied together in France. I myself came to Paris on an exchange, and so I live in the Moscow region. My friend is account from an aristocratic family, very influential in France, and recently he came to visit me for a week, to see Moscow, and on the first evening, he said to me, "Come on, show me how you Russians entertain here." But the guest's desire is the law. I brought him to my place, gathered my friends, and we had a grandiose party. My friend was leafing through the moonshine from his throat, and in the morning, he declared that he would not leave here. Now he's hiding somewhere with my friends, and drinking hard, although he should have returned to his place a long time ago, in the estate in Paris, KMP, until his parents did it, who have already raised everyone's ears, and are looking for me. In the morning, I go outside, to start the car, drive to work. I look, and some girl parks and scratches my bumper and her doors right in front of my eyes. She asked not to call the traffic police. She is in a hurry and so on. I didn't take any money from her. I forgave her, and they didn't write a receipt either. As a result, she drove off 50 meters, and called the traffic police. She said that some person scratched her and left. I'm in danger of losing my rights. I've been married for 15 years. There are 2 boys, husband, all my life, not my father. But then my husband was taught, a woman must obey and believe her husband. A woman should. There is a patriarchy in my family. He's a businessman. I'm his accountant. The children's mother is a housewife. We live in an apartment, and in the summer in the country. He took a mistress, a minor, with relatives bandits, molested her at a local club, and at night, they came and broke all the windows in the house, trashed the plot, demanded that he come out, and this defender just ran away, left us alone with a bunch of criminals, who smashed up the house all night, scared the children, took everything that was there, and spoiled what was left. I borrowed money from my neighbors for the way home with the children, and 4 boards for windows, and my husband was just in the apartment. He didn't even come for the children, pretending that nothing had happened. He even forbade the police to declare. Someone here is crying that a librarian with a salary of $3,000–4,000 a month, and my salary at the university is $1,700. 1/4 of the bets are no longer given. Plus, the surcharge for the dissertation was promised as much as 700 rubles. I am 26. I am a candidate of sciences. He graduated from the university with a red diploma. Parents say it's okay. When you become a senior teacher, you will receive 6, and maybe even 8. They are state employees themselves, and are used to such humiliation. We have been dating a girl for 2 years. I'm working. She's in her last year. In general, I decided to make an offer. Then I decided that I had to do it, especially somehow. Suddenly, I suggested a way. We bought what we needed, agreed with friends. On the right day, at 9 p.m., a summer light pulls up to her house machine stairs, me with a huge bouquet, to her window on the 2nd floor, and I see her in the window with someone. The KMP is a naive fool. I have been working for a large company for 39 years. There is an older daughter at home. She is 14 years old. She's not my own. She's my wife's daughter from my first marriage. I've been raising her since a year. I love you as my own daughter, even though there is a completely native daughter in this family. And so, when I started working for this company, I took her room and a computer for a working day. She's not at home at this time anyway, and I bought her a laptop, so there's no problem with that. And recently, the boss was supposed to come to my city on a business trip, and when I was chatting with him on Skype, my Pacharitsa returned from school. She came into my room, friendly waved his hand, took Paradavoy home clothes, and went out. Naturally, the boss saw it. The rest of the conversation was carried away by something, and was silent. And then he said, "If you let me fuck this woman, then you will take my place." I quit. Couldn't work there anymore. Put the doors in the apartment. The masters had tattoos, quite interesting. Interested, I turned to the internet. It turned out that such tattoos are made by thieves who did not leave their craft after prison. I laughed and forgot. And on the weekend, my apartment was taken out. When my period starts, I suffer from severe pain. I think this is familiar to many girls. Usually I give an anesthetic injection, and everything is normal. In general, I gave myself an injection and went on business. After 2 days, I can't step on my foot. The entire right side of my body was wildly sore. The temperature rose at night. I barely made it to the hospital. I sit, I cry. I tell the doctors that I don't want to die. My bottom touched all the male staff of the hospital. They cut me once, a second time a day later, then 2 more. I couldn't walk for 3 weeks. They said I was lucky. I came to them on time. Otherwise I would have accumulated from sepsis in a couple of days. Mom told me to compress it. But in that case, I would have accelerated my funeral. In 3 days, 100 cubes of pus formed in me from the injection. The medicine was burnt. In general, they cut out my right bun, KMP me without ass. I was at odds with my wife for 2 weeks. I was living in a rented apartment for the time being. She wanted to think. The day before yesterday, I went to the apartment to my daughter's family. And yesterday evening, they kicked me out of the apartment, asked to leave. I was putting my daughter to bed. A little lump is lying next to me, sleeping with me. My baby, he was almost asleep. I hear someone opening the door with a key. I think, well, the wife came. The father-in-law, mother-in-law, wife and her lover come in. They ask you to rewrite everything and leave like a man. And I'm still in shock. Ilt me 100 times. I am 16 years old. My sister is 10, our mom is 35. She is an attractive, wealthy woman. We live very amicably. We all love each other, as I thought. In social networks, it never occurred to me to look for my mother. And the other day my sister comes up to me and quietly asks in tears, "Why does mom hate us?" It turns out that all her friends began to register on the networks, and she first of all began to look for her mother. Found it. The whole wall is covered with posts. How great it is to be free and without children. Records from the series would like them to go to the grandfather's house, how to get rid of them, and so on. Many of them are rude and cruel, and with obscenities. I can't look her in the eye, and I feel sorry for my sister. And mom, as if nothing had happened, smiles. KMP, I'm so sorry. When I was 14 years old, I was a very informal teenager. She ran away from home, joined the hippies, lived according to the rules. There was a lot. Then, I got tired of living from train to train, in the same dirty jeans. I returned home. I graduated from school somehow. My mother pushed me into a prestigious university through the blat. In short, I took hold of my head. Now I am 27 years old. I'm building a career on it. A week ago, partners from the USA came to our company, and I, as the boss's right-hand man, accompanied him during the negotiations. After lunch at the restaurant, the boss suggested that everyone take a walk to Red Square. We were walking through Medesnaya Square. Suddenly, he detaches himself from the bench by the hand. Something rushes to me shouting, "Eugene, Eugene." In it I was horrified to find out the victor, who's 15 years older than me, and that I was in love then. He remained the same hairy, unwashed hippie, rushed to me. "Let's hug him." All this in front of shocked partners. I couldn't send a friend to fuck, pretend that I don't know him. The boss hasn't talked to me for a week, and he doesn't talk about the promotion anymore. Since childhood, I have loved to write poems, short stories and the like. There was a contest on one site. There I had to write a letter to Santa Claus about what I want for the new year. I wrote it. I thought I wouldn't win. 3 months later, I accidentally went to this site, only not under my own name, but as a guest, since I forgot my password, and then I see that my story has won. They wrote that she was gorgeous, not corny, praised me, but they, alas, failed to contact the winner. Help me please. And Priestum laptop was, by the way. Recently we had a super important test, which will greatly affect my scholarship. My friend and I were sitting at a desk together at the time when the muse came to me, and the answers to the task were boiling with might and main. My friend was sitting over an empty piece of paper and almost crying. I decided to help her and started dictating answers to her task. Everyone wrote it. When it came time to find out the results, a friend whined all the time that she would have 2. Well, I calmed her down in every possible way. So that's the point. She has 4, I have 2. The teacher says that I allegedly copied, does not allow retake. He doesn't believe I wrote it myself. Wait, it's not KMP yet. My friend didn't even thank me. Everything went and rejoiced. To her 4, but to my 2, she coldly said, "It's okay, you will survive the KMP," which was left without a scholarship. I went outside with a friend, and a friend started having hiccups. So I decided to go down while he was getting dressed and scare him. Here I am standing, waiting. I hear a stomp and quickly jump out from around the corner. As a result, it turned out to be a woman of 55-60 years old. She gave me a sharp crack with her purse, leaned forward and fell. I, too, took 3 steps back in fright and flew 13 steps of the head. As a result, my aunt has a stroke, and I have a lot of stitches on my head and a concussion. Shoot, a 25-year-old idiot. Once I rode in a tram. On the back landing, Chan was standing half a turn towards me. She looked at me and smiled, but the crowd pressed me to the window next to her. She looked out the window and said, "Well, hello, how are you doing?" I looked. She didn't have a phone in her hand. At first hesitantly, he replied. We began to have a nice conversation about nonsense. She was asking about me. I answered. After a few phrases, I believed that the girl, however, she became interested in me and asked for a phone number. She continued to ask questions. I decided to jokingly poke her in the shoulder and repeat the request. Poked. She turned her head in surprise, pulled the headset earphone out of her ear, and asked what I needed. With a burning face, I ran at the next stop and drank vodka all evening. 2 years have passed since then, and I'm still afraid to ride public transport. My mom I'm a mother. She is one of those who will tear up the seller in the market for 2 kopecks, and then also call the police. I was ashamed of her all my life, and recently, the situation got out of control. I started my period, and I asked her for a pill more quenching as usual. There was a physical education lesson that day. I didn't ask for leave, because when I move, my stomach hurts less, and the next morning, I was sick in the toilet. Why don't I know? Poisoned, maybe by something. But, Mom, I'm writing, and I don't believe that it was. She didn't let me flush the toilet, and took a picture of my vomit. I went to the director with the photo. I wrote a denunciation of a physical teacher. He forced me to do my monthly studies, yelled and forced me. I went to the director, cried, said that my mother was sick, but the director is intimidated by his mother, who raised to the high, and has already called in the whole instance. The principal told me that it's easier for her to fire the teacher now than to mess with my fucking mom. Our physical education teacher was awesome. I hate the whole school. Shoot, or they will shoot me. I'm dating a girl, but something hasn't been going well lately. I turned to the pickup forum for help, created a theme, painted everything in colors. Quotes from our dialogue were given. In order not to lose the topic, I decided to copy the address and send a contact message to yourself. I automatically selected her window and, without hesitation, copied and sent the address with that subject. The message has not been read yet. It cannot be deleted yet. It looks like this is the strongest fail in my life. I had one friend by correspondence. He's from Peru. Talked for a long time. A lot. And often. I realized that I fell in love. We met periodically. And after a while, we decided to get married. Getting to know my parents was terrifying. Always kind dad was furious that I decided to go to the Banana Republic. A little chair. He didn't launch it at me. Insulted his lover. And told me to go to hell and not show up at home anymore. His parents called me a Russian dinghy, 4 to hired ones. And the fact that we communicated daily for 8 years, they don't care. And they also sent me to hell. Spit, got married, worked 2 jobs, and saving up for a house. They gave birth to a son, started a tourist business. My mother secretly communicated with me 6 years after the incident, writes, saying, "Come, Papa forgive you, we miss you, I'm coming with my son." The father is shocked at first, then furious again. "I told you to go to hell, you're not my daughter anymore," and in front of the child puts it on the street. It turned out that Mom decided that he would see me and thaw. -10 on the street. I am with a 2-year-old child in my arms. Plane tickets are already in 4 days. I'm a homebody from a small town. I work through the internet. I only go out for groceries, and sometimes I meet with friends. I have an older sister. I'm a single mother. Now she arranges her personal life, and therefore sometimes brings me her daughter of 4 years. First he calls, chirps, that he will drop the baby off to me in an hour. When asked not to do so, he shrugs it off, knowing that I will follow up anyway. Once I tried to just not open the door for her. Since then, she leaves the baby at the door, calls and runs away. I have to rush home after the calls and watch. And then one day, I went to St. Petersburg for 3 days, and now the sister calls that she is going to drop the child off and Rua, so that she does not dare to do this. For half a word, she turns off the phone altogether. I called my friend in a panic. She came and took the child to her. 5 hours later, my sister calls, asks where we are hanging around. I wanted to tell her the address, but suddenly on some whim, I say that I have no idea where she is, and I'm in another city. My sister offended the neighbors. The police sobbed into my phone. I returned 2 days later, took the child from a friend, took her home. My sister scratched my face, slapped me, threatened the police. About a week ago, in the apartment, which is located behind the wall, neighbors began to play the piano every day at about 11 o'clock in the evening, with the same melody every day, was not playing very loudly, and so much attention I didn't. But recently, when a friend and I was sitting at my place and drinking beer, the piano started playing again, and to my objection, they say, "Well, here we go again." Suddenly he said that he had heard absolutely nothing of the kind. It seems to me that I am slowly moving my mind. I live alone. This was the beginning of the schizo. I met a gay man in an anonymous chat. She pretended to be a guy and took a picture of her uncle. And then she also took a picture of his best friend with him, kind of like a guy. I'm ashamed of my uncle. My mom has a lover. Today she went to visit and didn't tell him. She drank a lot there. He started calling me. I didn't frame my mom, and she didn't pick up the phone. He texted me, "Ira,